ever since I started this channel and gained a bit of an audience, I get the question on pretty much every video to do a tour of my garage, my showroom, or whatever you want to call it. Now, that is never going to happen as it is in my bedroom and some things needs to stay private, so I'm just going to keep that at that. But I found a middle ground and I took photos of every single build I did, or at least I still have in my possession, and did a slideshow. So while I have your attention anyways, I wanted to talk about some subjects. Recently I announced that I quit my job and am pursuing this full-time. Now this video is going to be pretty lengthy, so after every subject I have listed the time at which this starts and on which it pretty much ends as the next one starts. So the first subject being why I actually quit my real full-time job. That's pretty simple. I had worked there for about 1.5 years, started pretty happy, and eventually lost interest, gained a new function, gained some more salary, some more responsibility, and so on and so forth. And eventually it turned out that I didn't really like what I was doing, lost pretty much interest in doing what I did, didn't really have as much fun as I used to with all my colleagues, and kinda had the idea that this YouTube thing might work out after all, as I've seen the growth and the amount of money that it brings in, and on the other side there is pretty low risk. I'm 22 years old, still live with my parents, only have a car, and that's pretty much all the costs I have aside from my phone bill and some other stuff, so no major overhead, so I don't really need a major salary, and now is pretty much the time to do it, as when I have my own house, maybe even a wife and kids, this is probably never going to happen, so it's pretty much a now or never, and I decided to do it. Now obviously before I actually decided to pull the plug or cut the cord, I had been thinking about this for months, and in those months I obviously saved up some money, and with the money I saved up I'm about 3 or 4 months safe before I actually need to start working. And that is as of now, so that's without any support, just with the costs I have every month, and if that runs out I need to make more money in order to keep on doing this. But for now it's about 3 or 4 months before I need to go back to an actual job if this thing does not work out. Another important thing is obviously the YouTube money. If I was not making any money from this YouTube venture, I obviously would never have thought of the idea of quitting my actual job and pursuing this as a real thing. Now, the thing you need to know is that I am not making pretty much any reasonable amount of money to maintain myself, my lifestyle, and pay the bills. I'm not allowed to discuss the exact amount, but from a normal salary being pretty much between 1,500 and 2,000 euros a month, I am making about 20% of that with this YouTube thing. Now it is growing every month and I am getting better, I'm gaining more views, more subscribers, and therefore making more money. But as of now it's not even close to being enough. But as I've mentioned earlier on, there is pretty much no risk. I'm 22, live with my parents, and don't have that much overhead, so if this doesn't work out I will just get another job and figure it out then. So as I mentioned, the YouTube money isn't even cutting it close at the moment, so that is why I also opened up a Patreon account. I have had some support, some very generous support up until this point, and I'm very, very thankful for this. Now, in my last video, I announced that I actually quit my job and am pursuing this full-time as long as I can, and I also showed you some of the Patreon. But I kind of got the idea, even though I got all the positive replies, and I'm very grateful that you think it's a good idea, that most of you don't really know what the Patreon is for and how you can help me by using that and supporting me through Patreon. Now, the most important thing to know about Patreon is that if you guys do not pledge any money through Patreon to me, I will not be making any money through Patreon. So it's all up to you. Giving Patreon some money through your PayPal account or a link to your credit card. They take about 5% every month. PayPal takes another 5%, and I get pretty much 90% of what you actually want to give me. Now, the money that is given through Patreon by you is on a monthly basis. It's a subscription you take for 1 month, and it automatically repeats every single month until you decide that you want to quit doing that and don't want to give any more money. Had it with me, don't like the videos, don't like the way I'm going about my videos or spending the money, of course. So pretty much to sum it up, Patreon only works if you guys decide to give money through Patreon. Patreon is not paying me or letting me do anything. It's all about you guys. So if you don't give money, I don't get money through the Patreon. It's only a tool to help easily maintain a subscription without me having to go to you every month and 10 or 30 others every month. It's just done automatically through PayPal, so it's safe, and it's up to you how long you want to keep doing that. So it's all up to you. If you don't support, I won't make any money. And the basics is that I know this is going to sound weird, don't like asking for money. But in this case, in order to make this thing work, make me help you guys out, make me help produce more videos, buy more kits, buy more expansion for the kits, some wheels, some tires, some body kits, or even totally different subjects, maybe even do giveaways, I obviously need money. And I also need some money to maintain my lifestyle, eat some food, stay healthy, and stuff like that. So that is partially made by the YouTube money, and the other half is made through the Patreon by your generous support. Now, one thing I do want to note, and this is very important, I am not forcing anyone to give me money through Patreon. It's all up to you and your generous support. It's pretty simple. If you don't want to support me, that's totally fine. But in the end, I need to make money to keep doing this, and if I'm not making any money, I need to do this a bit less and actually start a serious job to make some money on the side and keep this thing going as long as I can. But through the Patreon, you can help me maintain this a lot easier and make more content as I have more time to do this. And that brings me up to the next subject. If this is all not going to work out, YouTube is not going to keep growing, I'm not going to make more money through YouTube, and I'm not getting enough support through the Patreon, I obviously will need to get a part-time job for 2, maybe 3 days a week, and still will be able to do at least 2 and try 3 videos a week for you guys. But that is the realism behind this. If it doesn't work, I'm gonna get to work and try it in another way until I eventually succeed or find a fair middle ground which works for me with a financial situation and which works for you with as many videos as I possibly can produce. Now, another source of income could also be commission builds. I'm totally open to the idea, and I have a fair amount set in my mind, and with a couple of people I came out to a deal who actually commissioned a build and are happy with the end result. Now, others have an unrealistic expectation of what it would actually cost to build and just don't reply after they receive a quote. So I'm going to be fairly simple about this. If I would go and work a normal job, I would make about 11 or 12 euros an hour. And if I would do a build of a commissioned kit, I would have about, depending on the kit, the difficulty, and the amount of details, between somewhere 20 or 40 hours into a single build. Now, this would equate to about roughly 400 euros per build, and most don't agree with that. Now, that's totally fine, and that is of course not what I'm asking for a build. My asking price for a commission is somewhere between 125 and 200 euros, depending on the difficulty and the amount of details. So if you ask me, that is pretty fair. Now, keep in mind that I make some money on these videos, and I obviously need to make money on the build and don't have it end up costing me anything. So I think that is a fair middle ground. You get a pretty okay build. I'm nowhere near a professional, never will I be that, and nor will I ever claim to be one. Models have imperfections, and I'm trying the best I can, and I will discuss any imperfection that are in the build, and I will show these openly to you and have you decide if you are okay with that, and if not, I will try my best to fix it. And that's pretty much it for the commissions. If you're into the idea, great. If you're not, totally fine. Aside from the YouTube, the Patreon, the commission builds, and even a part-time job optionally, I also have theskillmodeler.com. Now this is my personal web shop. I'm the owner operator and do pretty much everything for the site I can myself. Now this is a web shop, so yes, you can buy kits from there. It's all for sale and I price it as fairly as I can without losing my butt. Though keep in mind I am Dutch, I am based in the Netherlands, so my main ground of resale would be Holland, Belgium, Germany, and some surrounding countries in Europe. Other countries are possible with the exception of paints and liquids. Paints and liquids are considered dangerous goods by shippers, so I am not able to ship them outside of Europe. All the kits, accessories, and stuff is fine, but just no paints and liquids. Within Europe, I can ship everything I have in the shop, and outside Europe, you can email me to get a quote on shipping, and I will tell you if it's possible or not possible for those items to be shipped to your country. The site is pretty much all you would need to build, from a kit to the supplies to the paints to accessories and even body kits in order to customize it the way you want it to. Now, one thing to note is that I'm not making a single dime of this as of now. Yes, I am profitable, but all the profit that comes into the business every month will go back into the business, as I will invest and try to grow it as much as I can to make it a reliable source of income for maybe in the future or whenever that comes. If it doesn't, it's fine. It's a hobby. I enjoy it and I like spending time on it and sharing my ideas with customers and also my experience to give them the best customer experience they can get and have an honest opinion on the products. So now that you know why I quit my job, why I wanted to pursue this YouTube, and how I'm thinking of making this possible or maintainable as long as I can without going completely bankrupt, here is my idea for the future. The actual plan is to do about 4, maybe even push it to 5 videos, but let's just stick to 4 for the idea and have the 5th as an extra video every once in a while or weekly, but we'll see about that and how it will turn out. Now, behind all these videos is, of course, a lot of time in actually building the kit, figuring out what I'm going to do to the kit, actually doing to the kit, and also figuring out how I want to film that and bring that into a couple of episodes for every single build. Now, what you need to know is that every single build takes between 20 and 40 hours to build, depending on the difficulty, the amount of details, the amount of parts, and the kit itself, if it's good or bad, needs a lot of fixing and stuff like that. So building the kit alone is pretty much a full-time job every week. Now, aside from building the kit, I obviously need to make the videos as well. And in order to make those videos, I need to think of how I'm going to make the video, edit and cut the videos, and even do some narration and voiceover and stuff like that, select the music, and produce a final video, and do that about 5 times a week, let's just say. And editing every single video takes somewhere between 1 and 3 hours per video. Now, some are a bit shorter, some are a bit longer, but generally speaking, between 1 to 3 hours. So now that you know what it takes to produce these videos, I will also give you some insight on what my actual plans are for the content of these videos. Now, as of now, I have been mainly building cars with the exception of, let's say, about 4 things, and just sticking to cars. Cars is what I love, cars is where my passion is, and cars is what I pretty much always will be doing. But in order to make this channel grow, I need to step into some other subjects as well. I kind of like the idea of some motorcycles, bikes, even the occasional plane, and I recently got sent a couple of Gundam kits from a generous supporter of mine, and I will also probably be building some boats and some other subjects I can think of, or maybe even you guys can send me. So mainly cars, but I will try and build some other stuff every once in a while and see where that brings me. And from going to the subjects of stuff I want to build, there is obviously another opportunity for you guys to help me out and help decide on what to do. Now, in the last video where I announced that I actually quit my job, I got a lot of positive feedback, and I love that you guys like the idea of me doing this, but just to keep it honest, I cannot do this without your support. So the more you support me, the more I can give back, the longer I can keep doing this. And one way of supporting me, other than the Patreon and the commission builds, is maybe even opening a PO box. Now, a PO box is not cheap. It's about 250 euros a year, and that is something I don't really have available to spend on that. So another option is just to send it to my home address. Not really fond of that idea, but I might have to work with it or see how the Patreon and YouTube thing works out and see if it is eventually an option to do a PO box. Now, the reason to open a PO box is for you guys to send me kits. One important side note, I'm not asking for kits. This is just some of your generosity and an idea of a couple of followers on the last video to send me kits they want to see me build. Now, just to keep it clear, I don't need any more kits. I still have about 250 laying around yet to be built. But if you want to see me do something specific or just want to give me stuff, send me letters, send me kits, accessories, or whatever, that is what this PO box will be for. And that is kits you want me to see build, maybe even some accessories to use, or maybe you are a company, own a company, or know of a company that would possibly be interested in sponsoring me. Now, I'm open to everything you guys are able to send me, and I'm going to try my best to build everything as long as this is maintainable. So as long as I keep making money and don't have to get a job, I can build as much as I pretty much want, and you guys can send me the kits you absolutely want to have to see me build. Now, the most important thing is, if you want to send me something, contact me first through email. That can be done through the scale modeling channel at gmail.com. I will reply with my address or the PO box, and we'll figure out the rest. Now, the most important thing here is to not send me paints or liquids, as that is mostly not allowed through customs, the postal service, or whatever. So if the package gets caught, it will be destroyed. I might even get a fine, and you get a fine, and that is the last thing we want to do. So please, before considering sending me anything, please contact me, the scale modeling channel at gmail.com, and we'll figure out the rest. And the last subject for this already too long video is, what do you guys want to see? If you are going to support me through Patreon, would you want to see Patreon only content, or if you're just going to support me through Patreon, do you just want me to keep on doing what I'm doing and not do anything special for Patreon, just some early access photos and stuff like that? Or on the other hand, if you don't want to support me, that's totally fine. Do you want to see me do specific cars, specific themes, maybe even do a Q&A or anything? Just let me know down below, and I'll see what I can do, see what I like, and I'll reply to pretty much every comment with a question or something sensible in it, and try to interact with most of you as I can. So thank you for your patience. I hope you see the entire video, like my plans, and want to support me, help me out, help you out, and grow this thing to as big as I can.